and welcome to Olga's Primary Maths. Today we're going to learn or revise how to multiply and divide fractions. Let's have a look at how we multiply fractions. And multiplying fractions is the easiest thing we could ever do. When you multiply fractions, all you do is you multiply your numerators and you multiply your denominators. So your times in the top and your times in the bottom. So 3 times 5 is 15 and 4 times 6 is 24. Let's have a look if we can simplify this fraction. What's the highest common factor that we can divide both the top and the bottom number by? Oh, I know that 15 and 24 are both multiple of 3, so I can divide 15 by 3 and 24 by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5 and 24 divided by 3 is 8. So I simplified my 15 24th and now it's 5 eighths. So 2/3 times 4/5. Remember, we're times in the numerators and we're times in our denominators. So 2 times 4 is 8 and 3 times 5 is 15. Can we simplify 8/15? No, we can't, because they haven't got any common factors. They haven't got the same number we can divide both the numerator and the denominator by. So can you see how easy it is? When you multiply two fractions, all you do, you're multiplying the numerators and you're multiplying the denominators. Now let's multiply our fraction by a whole number. All we do, we multiply the numerator by the whole number and our denominator stays the same. So 5 times 3 is 15 and denominator stays the same, 15/7. So fraction times the whole number is just times the top. 15/7 is an improper fraction because it's more than a whole. Can we turn it into a mixed number? How many sevenths are there in 15? Well, there are 2 sevenths in 15 because I know that 7 times 2 is 14. And 1 is left over. So 15/7 as an improper fraction is the same as 2 and 1/7. Let's have a more complicated multiplication. Let's multiply a mixed number now by a whole number, applying the same principle. Right, well, before we do the multiplication, let's turn this mixed number into improper fraction. Do you remember how we do that? We start with our bottom number, we times it by the whole number, and then whatever we get, we add the numerator on top of it. So 3 times 2, which is 6, and we're adding 2 onto it, which is 8. So now we got 8/3. 2 and 2/3 is the same as 8/3. Now we're multiplying it by 10, applying the same principle. We're just multiplying the top numbers. 8 times 10 is 80, and the numerator stays the same. Ooh, wow, this is a very improper fraction. How many 3's in 80? You might just have to do a bus stop method to find out. 80 divided by 3. How many 3's go into 8? Well, I know it's 2. Because 3 times 2 is 6 and 2 left over. How many 3's go into 20? 6. Because 3 times 6 is 18. And 2 left over. Remainder 2. So we're going to have 26 3's and 80, 2 left over. So 80 thirds is the same as 26 and 2 thirds. This time we're dividing a fraction by a whole number. What we need to do to divide a fraction by a whole number, our numerator will stay the same this time, and all we're doing, we are multiplying our denominator by the whole number. So fraction divided by the whole number is times the bottom. So 8 times 7 is 56. Let's have a look at another example. 3/4 dividing it by 5. Okay, fraction divided by a whole number is times the bottom. So numerator stays the same. 4 times 5 is 20. 2 8 divided by 5. Numerator stays the same. And we're times in the bottom, not dividing, times in the bottom. 40th. We can simplify this fraction. Halve it, and it's going to be 1/20th. Let's have one more example. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's have 5 9s divide by 3. So we're leaving our numerator the same. And then we are multiplying the whole number by the denominator, which is 27. Fraction divided by a whole number is times the bottom. Remember the actions that I showed you? You won't need this for your year 6 sats, but you will learn it in high school, and I'll show you now if you want as a bonus. Let's have a fraction and let's divide it by another fraction. All you do, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip this fraction upside down. So instead of 7 9ths, I'm going to write it down as 9 7ths, and I'm going to multiply these fractions together. We know how to multiply the fractions together because we've learned this already. We're just multiplying the numerators together, 3 times 9, which is 27, and we're also multiplying denominators together, 4 times 7, which is 28. Let's have another example. Let's have 5 6s. Let's divide it by 3/4. So 5 6s, we're flipping the second fraction upside down. So instead of 3/4, it's now 4 thirds. And now instead of dividing, we put multiply here. And we know how to multiply fractions. We're multiplying the tops times the tops. 5 times 4 is 20. And we're multiplying the bottom. 6 times 3 is 18. And it's an improper fraction, top-heavy fraction. Let's turn it into a mixed number. How many 18s in 20? 1, 2 left over. We can also simplify this fraction. We can halve this fraction. Don't forget your whole. One whole stays the same, because quite often you forget when you're simplifying, you forget to write that whole down. And now we halve each numerator and the denominator, and we're going to get 1/9. Now, as a challenge, please work out on a piece of paper the following calculations to do with multiplying and dividing fractions. Okay, this is the first one. 3/8 times 5/7. Second one, 5/15 times a whole number, 3. Okay. Next one. 7/11 divide by 3. And let's have 8/16 divide by 2. Okay, work it out on a piece of paper and write your answers in the comments below if you can. When you're writing fractions, when you're typing them, it's not easy to type this, so you can use a slash like this instead of, so you could put, for example, if it's 2 8s, you can write it like this, okay? When you're typing it, 2 8s. Right, so it's easier for you to write in the comments. I'm hoping that this was helpful for you. Bye!